For over 200 years, Russia lived in fear. Entire cities burned, villages vanished overnight, and Mongol horsemen ruled the land with terror. But then, one ruler rose against them. A ruler so feared, history would remember him as Ivan the Terrible. This is the story of how Ivan IV challenged the Mongol hordes and changed Russian history forever. And by the end of his reign, rivers of blood would flow across the battlefield. For centuries, Russia was under the shadow of the Mongols. The Mongol Empire, created by Genghis Khan, had become the most terrifying force on earth. Their descendants ruled Russia through a powerful state called the Golden Horde. The Mongols demanded tribute. Russian princes obeyed them. Anyone who resisted was slaughtered. Entire cities were burned to ashes. Men were executed. Women and children were enslaved. And for generations, Russian rulers lived in humiliation. But by the 1500s, the Mongol Empire was weakening. The once unstoppable Golden Horde had fractured into smaller khanates. One of them was the Khanate of Kazan, and this kingdom would become Ivan's greatest target. Ivan the Terrible was born in 1530. His childhood was brutal. After his father died, powerful nobles fought for control of Russia. Young Ivan grew up surrounded by violence, betrayal, and murder. Some historians believe this trauma transformed him forever. As a child, he reportedly tortured animals. As a teenager, he watched nobles poison and kill each other. And when Ivan finally gained power, he became ruthless. At just 16 years old, Ivan crowned himself the first Tsar of all Russia. Not prince, not king, Tsar, a title inspired by the Roman Caesars. Ivan believed Russia was destined for greatness, and he would use fear and bloodshed to achieve it. Even though the Golden Horde had weakened, the Mongol threat still haunted Russia. Raids were common. Tatar horsemen attacked Russian borders constantly. Villages burned. Thousands were captured and sold into slavery. The Khanate of Kazan stood directly in Ivan's path. Located along the Volga River, Kazan was wealthy, powerful, and heavily fortified. Previous Russian rulers had failed to conquer it. But Ivan wanted total victory, so he prepared for war. He built one of the largest Russian armies ever assembled. Cannons, infantry, cavalry, foreign mercenaries, and orthodox warriors driven by religion and revenge. This would not be a simple raid. This would be annihilation. In 1552, Ivan marched toward Kazan. More than 100,000 Russian troops moved across the land. Massive cannons followed behind them. The city of Kazan was defended by fierce Tatar warriors. Its walls were enormous. Its defenders were experienced fighters. But Ivan came prepared. Russian engineers built siege towers. Cannons bombarded the walls day and night. Explosives were placed beneath the city defenses. Then, the final assault began. Russian soldiers stormed the city from multiple directions. The fighting was savage. Street by street, house by house. Blood covered the roads of Kazan. Thousands died in brutal combat. By the end of the siege, Kazan fell. The Mongol Tatar kingdom was crushed. Many defenders were executed. Others fled. For Russia, it was more than a military victory. It was revenge for centuries of Mongol domination. And for Ivan, it was proof that terror worked. After Kazan, Ivan became even more feared. He believed enemies surrounded him everywhere. Traitors, conspirators, plots against the throne. So Ivan created the Oprichniki, a secret police force dressed entirely in black. They rode black horses. Some carried severed dog heads as symbols of terror. Their mission was simple: destroy Ivan's enemies. And they did exactly that. Nobles were tortured. Families disappeared overnight. Entire towns were massacred. One of the worst atrocities happened in Novgorod. Ivan believed the city planned to betray him. So he unleashed terror. Thousands were murdered. Some were burned alive. Others drowned beneath frozen rivers. The streets became filled with corpses. Russia was now ruled through fear. But terror has a price. Years of war weakened Russia. Famine spread. Enemies attacked from every side. And Ivan himself became unstable. Then came the moment that shocked history. During an argument, Ivan struck his own son. The blow was fatal. The heir to the Russian throne died in his father's arms. Legend says Ivan screamed in horror after realizing what he had done. The mighty Tsar had destroyed his own family. It was the ultimate symbol of his madness. When Ivan the Terrible died in 1584, Russia was larger and more powerful than before. The Mongol Khanates had been broken. The old fear of Mongol domination was ending. But Ivan left behind a darker legacy too. Massacres, executions, paranoia, and a reign soaked in blood. To some, Ivan was a hero who built Russia into an empire. To others, he was a monster, a ruler who crushed enemies without mercy. And centuries later, the name Ivan the Terrible still echoes through history, because sometimes, the men who change history the most are also the ones history fears forever. If you enjoyed this dark history documentary, subscribe for more stories from history. And comment below, which ruler terrified the world the most?